issues in the second district that you think need to be addressed?
Well, we've got Parkview, and you had Manchester College that was going to come in with the pharmaceutical school, is now going to be built up here off of 69 with in that Parkview complex. The people that I've talked to that have direct dealings with Parkview, have assured me that they're not giving up, and that there is going to be something that's going to be in there to help keep that area of the city intact. Because I think if you lose a facility like Parkview, or if you continue to let it, as much as we have with some of these other buildings that have moved out, we've got to keep that a viable entity for that area in the district. We're also blessed with, you've got Fort Wayne Seminary is in the second district, you have IPFW in the second district, Harrison College is in the second district, Ivy Tech is in the second district. So we've got a great opportunity to collaborate with all these different universities and higher education to try and keep the youth here. And what we don't want to have happen is have kids attend these universities and then have them go other places. That really doesn't service us well. So we need to partner with those higher education and collaborate and try and work with that. And I'd want to be a proactive voice in that collaboration and take a leadership role with those universities and colleges.
There's maybe not a lot that you can do legislatively or ordinance-wise or things like that, maybe to help different issues out. What are some of the options available to a councilman?
I think it's about building relationships. I mean, I've talked to a number of different businesses here in town that have been here for generations. And I said, I asked them, when was the last time somebody from the city came out and just introduced themselves, didn't come out with a welcome basket or anything like that? And they said zero. And I think that is huge for the city. We've got to be out there. We have to be proactive instead of reactive. I think with Navistar we're reactive, and I think with Lincoln to some extent we were reactive. We had Ian Rowland had a great relationship with the leaders of our city, and that I think is really what kept Lincoln here. When Ian stepped down, we lost that relationship. We didn't have that. So instead of going out and trying to build that relationship, or prior to Ian stepping down, building that relationship with those second in commands who may take over the mantle, we didn't do it. So when Lincoln left, we tried to be reactive instead of proactive. We got to get out there and build relationships so people understand what we're doing here, and they can even carry, because a referral is the best thing in my business. And much like if we're looking to attract a new business, a referral from, say, the O'Daniel family who have been in this area for years, or from Sweetwater Sound, or Steel Dynamics, I think that goes a long way.
Let's talk about economic development.
Sure.
First of all, what's it mean to you?
Oh, it means all kinds of things to me. Infrastructure. If we don't take our backbones, to me personally, neighborhoods are the backbones for economic development. If we don't have good infrastructure, strong neighborhoods, employers aren't going to be that anxious to locate here if they don't have suitable housing and for their employees. So I think that's huge. You can look at our airport. Now, granted, that's an appointed board, but there are some appointments to that. We've got to be able to get people in and out of here. And I don't have the solution for that, but that is an integral piece to economic development. I mean, if you look at like the Biomets and the Depews, they all have corporate jets and they need to be able to get in and out of here. Much like Steel Dynamics, people that deal worldwide. There's a small engineering firm here that does all the refrigeration stuff for Edie's Ice Cream, Dannon Yogurt. They have some international flavor to them, but they're a small little shop. Well, not small. I think right now they're about 200 employees, and yet they do work for all these large corporations. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of our roads, taking care of ways to get in and out of here. We need to make sure we've got all these different economic development groups. My concern is are we all operating off the same playbook? And I view the mayor as being the quarterback for our PR guy. That's the individual that I see should need to drive those economic development groups, because the last thing we need is to have one of these groups out there making commitments that we can't keep, because that doesn't make us look very good. So I think the mayor needs to take a leadership role with those organizations and be the front man for those organizations, and get everybody operating off the same playbook. I sit on Allen County Redevelopment Commission, and we've recently started a land banking program. Now, are we out there, carrying an inventory of property? No, we're out there making sure that we realize that the money that we have comes from the taxpayers. So we're being very, good fiscal stewards with that money, and making sure that we're putting it to the very good use that it's intended. I mean, we've got Steel Dynamics. We're working, that's been announced, so I can go ahead and share that. We're working with Steel Dynamics. We're working with General Mills, and these are all pieces of property, that we've looked at on the Redevelopment Commission for a land banking program. So, it kind of gets me crossways with some of the developers, some of the commercial brokers, because they see, Allen County as being a 2-ton gorilla in the party, and kind of taking food off their table. But at the same time, we have to do something. We can't stay stagnant, or we're going to die, and we will lose our work base, which I think is key to economic development, because people are going to go where the jobs are.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you mentioned, neighborhoods, and one of the things that changed early in this administration was the CEDIT allocations
Sure.
were taken away from city council members. Do you think that's something that should be reinstated? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think nobody knows the district better than the elected officials. I mean, that's they're elected for that purpose, to stay in touch with the residents of their district. And over the past, even as association president, I attend the Northeast Area Partnership. I go to the Northwest Area Partnership. The Northeast, really isn't in my partnership area, but I still go to that because I want to hear the other side of the story. As far as we get information on crime rate. We get information from the fire. Every once in a while, we'll get some information from the mayor's office. So I think that's important to maintain, those things in place, so you can get that. It's a good way to collaborate with other presidents from the neighborhood and see what they're doing.
Housing stock in the city?
Oh, housing stock?
Yeah.
We got a lot of foreclosures in Pine Valley, so that's a big issue for us. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to stop some of these. But again, it goes back to that economic development issue of, one, we've got to maintain our property value. So and the way to do that is to make sure that we've got jobs here. A lot of these issues with foreclosures are people that have lost their jobs or have gotten laid off. It's slowly starting to be less and less. But again, that's an issue that we deal with: foreclosures, sheriff sales. We've got to be able to get our hands around that, and I think that comes from the economic development and bringing jobs in here, getting current employers to expand.
Well, somebody may look at that and think, what difference does it make if you have a lot of foreclosures in your area?
It hurts my
What does
property
that-
value, because when they do the comps, for argument's sake, if somebody wants to resell their house, if they want to sell their house and move to another area in the second district, it's going to be tough, because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to run comps on the areas. So a house that may have sold for $250,000 6-7 years ago, well, guess what? Now that's maybe only worth $190 because of all the comps, because people have lowered their property values because they've wanted to get out of their homes. So people really took a hit on their homes. So that's huge. When you have foreclosures, same thing. I mean, that doesn't help my property value.